We had a very interesting conversation with Dr. Hadi, a very good friend, oh, great guy. Enjoyed talking to him. Yeah, he had a very close shave with COVID 19. Yeah, coming in contact with somebody who tested positive. Now you've got to take the test. You've got to isolate for a little bit. Well, in his case, he still had to work. The jitters, the trauma, the scare. I mean, we documented all that live on radio. But today, we're not talking about close shaves. We're talking in deep. Yeah. My guest tonight is a pediatrician with a passion for children. In fact, immediately we sent out a message that we'll be spending time with her. Lots of people sent me messages. Oh my goodness, Lexus, they're spending time with this woman. She took off my baby. She's so amazing. She's awesome. And I'm like, that's so heartwarming to hear. In the line of duty, or some way, somehow, she contracted the coronavirus. Glory be to God, she has recovered. Yes, she's fine now. And you and I would want to know what it tastes like to be COVID-19 positive. The symptoms, what are you going to go through? How do you recover? Is it traumatic? Well, we get to find out tonight as I spend time with Dr. Joan Woode. She's my guest tonight and she's connecting with us live on Zoom to share her journey. So let's go over to Doctor. Hello, Doc.
Hi, Lexus.
Oh, really good to see you. I can see you live on my screen here, and we're live on Facebook as well. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you, Lexus. How are you too?
Oh, by grace, I'm well. So I was just saying earlier that I shared the artwork on my Facebook and Instagram and Twitter pages, and people sent me messages that, oh my goodness, she's so amazing. She took off my baby and whatnot. This must be nice. Your job, actually.
Sorry?
I mean, your job must be a nice one, knowing that people appreciate all that you do for them and their families.
Yeah, I'm very happy to hear that. I didn't know that. I mean, there were people, I know people appreciate what I do, but then I didn't know that it was such a widespread issue. So I'm very happy to hear such things.
Oh, that's good. Well, for you personally, what does being a pediatrician mean to you? Is it born out of passion?
Yes, so I'm a pediatrician, yes, but then I just love taking care of the newborn babies. I think they are a very vulnerable group of babies and quite helpless. So, I mean, I just want to go all out for them and do the very best that I can for them. So it's out of passion, yes.
Wow, that's really good to know. Tell me, what's been your best moment on the job?
Well, so I have quite a few. I work in the newborn unit.
Okay.
And there I see a lot of preterm babies, premature babies, should I say. Babies who are really very ill. And a few times I walk in town and I see their parents and they recognize me. I can't make them out. But then when they see me, they go like, oh, doctor, can't you remember me? Then I go like, oh, no. Then they were like, oh, about 5 years ago we're in NICU. Don't you remember this baby?
Yeah.
And now you know this baby is all grown up. She's going to school. She's doing so well. And that gives me a lot of joy. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Give me a bit of detail. You mentioned you work in the preterm unit. Is that it?
At the neonatal intensive care unit.
Okay, give me what goes on in there. Exactly what your job is about.
Okay, so I work at the neonatal intensive care unit. There we receive babies, preterm babies. When I say preterm babies, I'm talking about babies who were not born at term. So they were born before the 9 months of age of gestation.
Okay.
Then we also have babies who were born at term. That is, they were born at the 9 months, but then they may have one problem or the other. And so these babies are sent over to us at the NICU, and we take care of them. So on a daily basis, we would check each and every one of them, examine them every, sometimes several times in a day, actually, just to make sure that everything is going on, yeah, well. We interact with their parents, giving them updates as to what is happening with the baby.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
that's what goes on at my workplace.
What has been the I don't know what I should put it, the scariest day on the job. And this is not COVID. I'm talking about taking care of preterm babies, or probably the saddest day on the job.
The sorry,
Saddest day on the job.
saddest day of the job. Well, I get a few. Sometimes you have a baby who comes in, you're not really expecting that the baby, you lose the baby, and then some way, somehow things go bad, and then you lose the baby. That's a very sad thing. And one of the things that really makes me sad, every baby is precious to me.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really, yes, every baby is precious. But if you can just imagine maybe a couple who have struggled to have a baby, and then baby has to come to me group, and then unfortunately baby passes away. That's a very sad
Yeah,
event,
yeah.
and it can really have a toll on everybody at the workplace.
Okay. Now let's talk COVID now. When did you first hear about COVID-19, and really what were your thoughts about it? I know somewhere in December, January, news was going around that somewhere in Wuhan there's this thing going on. Did you hear about it then? Were you worried?
So I didn't really hear about it in December, but then in January, I think somewhere in January, I heard about it for the very first time. The fact that they had picked up a few people who had had a pneumonia-like presentation, unusual pneumonia. At that point in time, I really didn't think it was going to be on this massive scale. You know, we've all heard about SARS
Hmm.
and the MERS. We heard about them. Yes, they did spread out of wherever they started from, but they didn't get out of control. I actually thought that it would be something like that. I didn't really think it was going to be on this large scale.
Mm. Now, from the hospital perspective, when did it start becoming serious? Did you start getting maybe some uh, newsletters about it? Did the hospital now start saying, okay, well, this thing is getting scary and getting closer. What do we do? Were there some precautions that you had to take in regards to COVID?
Yes, I think that the hospital the hospital started getting ready quite early. We heard about it, information was going around. We had information coming from our heads and all that we needed to prepare as a hospital, because you never know who would walk through your doors, and you
Yeah,
must be prepared to receive whoever it is that comes in. So we started preparing. We needed to identify a place where we would keep our patients. If we had a suspected case, where we would put that patient. Needed to be clear about what our guidelines were going to be like, our diagnostic guidelines. So all that had to be put in place. We needed to get our personal protective equipment in place. So the hospital started getting ready in that respect. This was my unit, but I know that the hospital in itself, the Pediatrician hospital, also started getting a place for the hospital just in case we needed to take care of a patient who had COVID-19.
Hmm. Now, uh, weeks passed. We heard, we followed the statistics from China. We saw stuff happening in Italy. It was getting close. It was getting serious. Now, president had to say, okay, let's lock down Ghana and whatnot. At what point did you come in contact with anybody or something COVID? Have you figured that out?
At what point in time did I? Sorry.
Did you come in contact with anybody who's COVID positive or some of the sort? Have you figured that out?
No, I really haven't figured out when I came into contact with anybody who had COVID-19. Yes, I was going about my work as usual. I work in a hospital, and in a hospital, everything is possible. You never know who you're
Yeah.
talking to. Even though we had our screening criteria and all that, it's not 100%. So you may have one or two people slipping in. I'm not saying that I got it from the hospital. Again, I mean, there has been community spread, even though I got it towards the end of March. The cases then weren't that many. The thing is, you never know who you've come into contact with, but I never had contact with anybody who had traveled to China or to the USA or wherever. I really didn't have any, I didn't have any contact with such a person.
So till now, you don't know how you contracted the virus.
No, I don't. Till now, I don't know how I got the virus.
Have you thought of maybe possible options, possible scenarios?
Well, so I remember that just in the middle of March, thereabouts, I needed to go get groceries and items for the house. So I remember visiting, I went to the bank, but the banking hall was virtually empty. I also went to a grocery shopping area. I must say that that place was a bit crowded, but then I needed to get stuff for the household, so I did go ahead and get whatever I needed to get for my household. So it is possible that I picked it up from there. I can't tell.
Okay. Now, at what point did you start seeing symptoms, or did you have any at all?
Yes, like this, I did have symptoms. So I remember that on the 25th of March, I was getting ready to go to work. And so I had taken my bath and all that. Then I realized that I couldn't smell my body lotion. And then I remembered that, it seems like I didn't smell my soap as well. But then I didn't really pay much attention to that. So I got ready, I went to work. Then the following day, 26th of March, that was a Thursday. Again, this time around, it was my perfume. I realized I couldn't smell my perfume. That was when I became alarmed. I had been reading and I knew that not being able to smell was one of the signs of COVID 19. But that was the farthest thing on my mind
Yeah, yeah.
at that point in time. So, yeah, I went about my duties as usual that Thursday. Then the following day, which was a Friday, I still couldn't smell anything. That was when I started becoming worried. And so I decided to seek professional advice. I went to see some doctors. And yeah, I was put on some management. Again, COVID 19 came up, but then it was like, okay, let's start treating you for this. A diagnosis was made, and I started the treatment. Then the following day, it was a Saturday. That was when my help at home, the nanny who looks after my toddler girl, fell ill. So putting everything together, I made a few calls again, and then a decision was made to get me tested. So I had the test done on a Sunday. It was 29th of March. And then 5 days later, my results came back.
Positive.
Yes, it came back positive.
Okay, now let's start off with the point you noticed that you couldn't smell anything and you went to see the other doctors. Now, you said COVID came up, but it wasn't really taken seriously, or you probably somewhat put it aside for a little bit.
Yeah.
What about those doctors you came in contact with? Were they also willing to put it aside like that, or they actually advised that, well, maybe it's just one of those things, or was it on their advice?
So, well, initially, I think we downplayed it a bit, but then, I mean, eventually they were the ones who, like, I mean, yes, I wanted to do the test, and they really pushed me to go and get the test done.
Were you scared when the suggestion of doing the test came up?
So at that point in time, when I was told to go and do the test, no, I wasn't scared because, as I told you, it wasn't one, even though I knew it was possible, I really didn't think that it was the farthest thing on my mind. Like, yes. So I did the test, and really, let me tell you the truth. When I did the test, I was just hoping that, in fact, I was waiting for the result to come back negative so that I could go look for the cause of my inability to smell.
Oh dear. Okay. Now they come take your sample. They say you have to wait. You said you waited for 5 days.
Yes, I did.
How was it like within those 5 days? Was it just business as usual for you? Did you have to self isolate? And were you because last week when I spoke to Dr. Hadi, he had he had to wake up at 2 a.m. every day and wonder what's left of his life. What was it for you?
Okay, so I also waited for 5 days, and the 5 days, like this, I think that one mistake that I made was to continue to go to work because I didn't think I had COVID-19. So even though the sample had been taken, I actually continued going to work, and that shouldn't have happened. I was working, I would come home, it will cross my mind that you've taken the test for COVID. Then I'll start wondering, hey, what if it comes back positive? Even though I'm hoping that it will turn out negative, I had at the back of my mind that what if it turns out positive? What am I going to do? Will it mean that the people in my house, my household members, are also going to be infected?
Hmm.
What about the people that I work with? So a few thoughts did come, through into my mind. But again, I was waiting and hoping
Okay.
that it would come back negative. Yes.
Your help, you said fell ill the day after you started seeing your symptoms. What symptoms did she start seeing? Was it the same loss of smell?
No. So she had a very bad headache. She had general body pains. So she had pains all over her body.
Hmm.
She said she couldn't breathe properly, and she was getting tired easily. And then she had chills. So it was as if she was feeling cold, and shivering at a point, even though her temperature was normal. So these were the symptoms that she had.
And there were other members of your family you live with, or you just live with your help?
So I have a toddler, a 4-year-old. She lives with us.
Okay, okay. And she didn't fall sick.
No, she didn't fall sick.
Hello, hello.
Yes, she didn't fall sick. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yes, yes.
She didn't
By
fall
God's
sick.
grace. No, by God's grace, she was fine.
Was it that you did something deliberately to avoid her?
No. Oh, through it all, we had all been living together. She was in the house with us. We're just going about our lives as usual.
Mm.
So we're not really, we didn't do anything deliberately to avoid her. And the truth is that I'll get back from work and she will come hugging me. You know, there was nothing like social distancing in my house.
Yeah.
No, with her, no.
Okay. So did you take the test together with your house help, or she took it a bit later?
So I did my test first, and then when it came back positive, she and the little girl were tested.
Hmm. The waiting period, of course, you said it crossed your mind a few times, family, like it came back positive and whatnot. Will you call that experience traumatic?
It was really traumatic. It was filled with anxiety, a bit of fear here and there. So when it comes back positive, what does it mean? Are you going to get sick? And of course, I had been watching the news. I've been listening to the news on CNN and on BBC, and I had been seeing what was going on in Italy at that time. Italy was really in the news at that time.
Yeah.
So all those pictures would come up in my mind, and that was quite scary.
What was the first thought when you? I don't know whether they called you to tell you you were positive or they brought you the result for you to tear up the envelope and see a plus sign or something. How did you receive the news and what was the first thought that came to mind?
Okay, so I got the results after 5 days, and let me tell you that I wasn't sitting there actually waiting for the results to come. I kept on calling for the results, So I really wanted to know what was in there. So I called, and they would tell me that they were, working on it. It hadn't come and all that. But finally, I was called, and then I was told to come over to come get my results. At that point in time, I thought it was a bit odd. I'm a doctor. What can't you tell me over the phone and all that? But
Yeah.
I was told to come. I was like, okay, so I went. And when I got over there to the public health unit, I was met by the head of the public health unit himself, one of his top aides, and then Dr. Amma Edwin. I will mention her name. She's been one of my main support. She was there. When I saw her, it struck it struck me that hmm, this may not be a very it may not be what I was hoping to hear.
Yeah.
But I was yes, I was told to sit down. We had a little bit of chit chatting. Yes, we're sitting down observing the social distancing. I had my mask on. They had their mask on and everything. So then we had a little bit of chit chatting here and there, and then I was told that my test had turned. It was positive.
Looking back at that conversation you had, the chit chatting, do you think they were prepping you psychologically for the news?
Yes, I think so. They were. Even though I had my suspicions, but
Yeah.
I think that it was a good thing that they did because it relaxed me a bit before I received the news.
Okay. Well, if you just tune in, this is Personality Profile on Joy 99.7 FM. And apologies, I hear there's a little bit of an echo in the conversation, but please forgive us. We're doing this conversation via Zoom, and technology is giving us all these echoes and whatnot. Yes, the sound is socially distancing itself. But yeah, please forgive us. We're live on Facebook as well. Dr. Joan Woode is an amazing pediatrician, and she's telling us about her COVID-19 story. Okay, so Doc, now you're seated in, with your friends, they're chit chatting, and then finally they break the news. First thought that came to mind.
Let me tell you, I started crying at that point in time. Immediately they told me I was positive. The first thing was I started crying. Then I started talking. And I remember the first thing that I said was like, oh my God, the people that I work with, I have infected them. And then I came to my family and I was like, oh, what have I done to my family? My little girl, my nanny is sick. I remember uttering those words, you know. So these were my first thoughts. The fact that I could have, gotten other people exposed to the infection unknowingly.
Yeah.
And that for me was something that I thought I couldn't really forgive myself for doing. But then again, I mean, we had a conversation. Dr. Amma Edwin was with me, and she was like, no, Joanne, you have to, first of all, nobody else has been confirmed positive in your circle. So we'll have to go through the steps and see what has happened. So don't start blaming yourself for now. Yes.
Which of your family members did you tell first?
I called my brother and I told my brother. My brother lives in the US. I told him. And I called my husband and I also told him. These were my very close family members that I needed them to know.
Yeah.
My mom was also there, but I had to prepare myself. I needed to psych myself to tell my mom that this is what was happening. So it took a few days. I think I told my mom on the third day, and it was shocking to her. she's quite she's an older citizen, so I needed to break the news to her with a lot of caution. She has other morbidities and all that, so yeah, it took a bit of courage to tell my mother, and I had to do a video call with her for her to actually see me and know that I wasn't sick, lying in bed and not being able to do anything. Yeah.
Okay. Looks like you've got an amazing support system because I just got a message that says, Lexus, that's my sister right there on your show. I just want her to know that we love her and we're solidly behind her and proud of her. Kobe, Mom, Araba, Kwame, Jasmine, Parkway in the USA.
Wow. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. Yes.
Okay.
They've
Now,
been there for me.
yeah, let's talk about your colleagues at work. Obviously, you are not the one to break the news to them, were you?
No, I wasn't the one.
Do you know how it went?
Handled it.
What did you say there?
The public health unit of the hospital handled it.
So it means that some of them, including the doctors who saw to you earlier, had to be quarantined.
So what it was that, as I told you from the beginning, I worked in the NICU. So the NICU, we had been together. So it was like everybody. I had come into contact with almost everybody in the NICU. That's what I'll say.
Hmm.
So again, so what happened was that NICU stopped receiving babies for I think about a week. I'm not too sure, maybe a few days. They needed to do the test for the doctors and the nurses and everybody who worked in NICU at that time. So because we had all been together, really you couldn't say that everybody in NICU should go sit at home and leave the ward unmanned. So they kept on working till the results came back. And thanks be to God, every single one of them turned out negative, including the babies that I looked after and their mothers as well.
Oh, that's awesome. So there's a lot of talk about stigmatization of people with coronavirus. Did you experience anything of the sort?
In the early stages, when my diagnosis came back positive, you remember I had told you that my nanny had been unwell, so I needed to take her for her to be seen. And unfortunately, well, as at that point in time, we hadn't even done the test. So even though I had my suspicions, there was nothing to really prove that either I or the nanny was infected with with the coronavirus. So a few people who had come into contact with us, they weren't too happy about that. And I heard a few comments coming from them. Initially, I was very upset, very sad about it. I cried a few times. That why would and these were health workers, so why would they say things about us, making it seem as if we had come over and we were deliberately spreading the infection or coming there to deliberately infect them.
Mm.
That really got to me. But looking back, I think that that was done, probably done out of ignorance. I know that there's a lot of fear about COVID 19. And so people would naturally want to do everything to avoid it. And in the same way, none of us, or I don't think that I will never go out knowing that I have COVID 19 and deliberately go out and go and spread the infection. So, what I think is that those who made those comments probably made them out of ignorance. And that is why I'm very glad to be having this conversation because there's nothing to be shy about when it comes to COVID 19.
What comments were you hearing? You mentioned that you had a few comments that made you sad and upset. What kind of comments? What were you hearing?
So, am I permitted to say something in trees?
Yes. Feel free.
Okay, so one of the things that I heard was when the results came out positive, and I think they had heard that the results had come out positive. One of the things I heard was, hey, and what they are ben nanti nanti ha, that was really, it really got me down. And then a few days later, or I think about a week or two later, another incident happened, and then I heard sad doctor Noah or Nikunu and or the Nanti Nanti ha, it was like singling me out and blaming me for maybe things that had happened in that particular unit. And then again, I had something. A few weeks again, about a month after I tested positive, the child health department also had another incident where a child came in and died, and it was found out that the child had turned positive for COVID-19. And again, I heard that I was the one who had infected that child. Meanwhile, I had been at home for about a month. That child came to the emergency room. I don't work in the emergency room. So the mere fact that I worked with the Department of Child Health had turned positive, and another child had come and was positive, immediately there was that link that I had infected the child. But as I said, all these things I believe were done out of, or were spoken out of ignorance.
Let's talk about your isolation. Now they took you in and you had to stay away from everybody. How long were you isolated and what was the treatment like?
Okay, so basically, I wasn't taken away to the isolation center. I have been at home. I have been taken care of at home. So we've been here together, myself, the nanny, and then my little girl. The three of us have been together from day one. And yes, we were given some medications to take, and we took our medications. A doctor was assigned to us, and I must say I've been very blessed. So many doctors checking up on me. I had a main doctor from the University of Ghana Medical Center, Dr. Putlampo. Thank you very much. And he took care of me and a few others. There were several. I can't mention everybody's name. I was also being followed up by the Ablekuma. Now I can't remember whether it's Ablekuma South, one of the districts in around Kolebu. I was also being followed up by them. So I would get calls. How are you feeling? Is there any new complaints? Yeah. So I had that, and then Dr. Amma Edwin was with me all the time. She was also the one who gave me the psychological support.
Aside the loss of smell, did you develop any other symptoms through the period?
Yes. So after I had the loss of smell, I intermittently had a cough. So a cough that would come for maybe about 2 days, dry cough, very irritating, and then it would go away by itself. It happened about 3 times. And then I had a very bad, like, my body aches. So yes, I had a very bad body ache at a point that also lasted for I think about 2 days, and then it went away. Then for a very long time, I was actually asymptomatic. I was fine. Then towards the end, I started developing this chest pain, and that was really worrying because I thought that as at that point in time, I should be getting better. And then I had this new symptom. But thankfully, that has also resolved.
Now, you were in the same house with your nanny and your toddler, the 4-year-old girl.
Yes.
How were you managing? Did you still have contact with her? How was it like?
What could I do? What can you can't tell a 4-year-old to keep the social distance. She is all over you. It was really very difficult, but then we had to take deliberate steps to try and protect her. I won't say that everything that we did was 100%, but we had to make sure that we were wearing our masks at home, ensuring that we're cleaning surfaces with bleach all the time. Yeah, she had her separate utensils that she was eating with. So these are a few steps that we took. But other than that, she was all over us. I mean, yeah.
And she never got infected.
No, she tested negative twice,
Wow.
and she's been fine. Like, I mean, well.
That's good to know. Now, there's been conversations the world over about the treatment for coronavirus. We're waiting for a vaccine, but I'm hearing hydroxychloroquine, all sorts of drugs and whatnot. I'm just curious what kind of drugs you take.
So I had, so there are various combinations of medications. They are the first lines that they would give. We have those that are, so the routine ones, the vitamin C's, and then the zinc. I was given that. We took that. My nanny and I were given the hydroxychloroquine, which we took. Yes, so we took the medications that they gave us.
There's this talk about us building our immune system and whatnot. You mentioned vitamin C. Now I take it like every day. I take it like for breakfast, lunch, and supper. In his last address, the president advised that we should eat contonre and things like that. So, how are you ensuring that your immune system was top notch enough to fight this virus?
Yeah, I mean, well, I had to make sure that I was eating well. I mean, even though it was a very difficult period for me and then the family, we had to ensure that we're eating well. So we're eating well. We couldn't go out and walk, obviously. So we would often stand on the balcony and outside and then look out, get some fresh air, and then take our vitamins. Yeah, that was what we did.
Okay. We're actually going to re-establish connection with you very shortly. This story is amazing. Lots of messages coming in. You can also send yours on 0244340437. If you're just tuning in, and this is Joy 99.7 FM Personality Profile. My name is Lexus Bill, and this evening we're spending time with Dr. Joan Woode, who's telling us about her COVID-19 experience. She contracted it. Luckily, she has recovered, and she's telling us all that she went through. Yeah? And I'm seeing lots of your messages. If you'd want to call in as well, you can call 0302216541. This message is from Essie. Essie says, great show, Lexus. Dr. Woode's story is really inspiring. Keep up the good work. So was the nanny positive or not? The nanny was positive, Essie. Yeah. The nanny was positive. Good evening, Lexus. Dr. Joanne, I see her to be a very generous woman, though I don't know her. God bless you, beautiful lady. I'm really feeling blessed to hear you speak. Keep on keeping on with your good work. And that's from Paul Abe in Nyanyano. Yeah, you can also WhatsApp 0244340437. Otubia, I hope I got your name right. Otubia says, Lexus, I thank God for her life. Dr. Woode is such a blessing. My good friend Ifwa Evans Chinery says, Lexus, please tell Dr. Woode we love her. She took care of my babies. A few calls before we establish contact with Dr. Woode and continue the conversation. Hello?
Hello.
Hi, good evening, my dear. What's your name?
I'm Jimfua.
Jimfua, good to have you. Talk to me.
I wanted to say that one is a super lady, and I admire her so much. And I'm so thankful to God that she's fine. We are all happy. I love her, and I just can't wait to see her.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We're excited too. Thank you so much for calling in, okay?
It's my pleasure, boss. Okay. Bye.
All right, bye-bye. And remember, we're live on our Facebook page as well, so you can actually get on there and check out the conversation. Hello?
Yeah, Leslie.
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. What's your name?
My name is Freeman.
Freeman. Okay, let's hear you, Freeman.
Actually, Dr. Wood took care of my twins.
Oh.
About 9 months. Imagine a child about less than a week to put on her. And she Actually, she has been a very, very big support to us. And listening to her story, I was so much touched, and just want to tell everybody not to stigmatize her about those who are doctors who are taking care of us.
Yeah.
Seriously. And let us take care of ourselves and abide by every single thing Dr. Wood, amazing woman.
Awesome.
And seriously, I'm touched by her story.
Thank you so much, my brother. Lexus, Dr. Wood is such a nice person and a good teacher as well. She taught me senior clerkship pediatrics in medical school. I'm glad she survived this. Sending her love and light. God bless her. Thank you so much. Doc, so very positive comments and lots of interesting comments coming your way. Everybody is grateful to you.
Thank you. I want to say thank you to all of them too for their prayers and support.
Dr. Wood, what has this whole COVID-19 experience taught you?
Hello?
Can you hear me, Dr. Wood?
Now.
Okay, so I was asking, what has this whole experience taught you? The COVID-19 experience, going through all of it.
Yes. So,
Before you answer that, though, let's confirm you have recovered.
Yes, by the grace of God Almighty.
Amen.
I have recovered.
Amen. And your nanny?
She's also recovered.
Oh, we thank God. We thank God.
Yes.
So what has it all taught you?
So, first of all, I realize that I'm very human. Yeah. Um, I had it was a lot of ups and downs for me mentally, as I told you from the beginning. Um, at one point, very happy that I was very well, and then at other times, to realizing that the human life is very frail. You are here at one point in time, the next minute, you are gone. I thank God for life. And one other thing that I have learned is the value of family and friends. Like this, I've had such an amazing support from colleagues, from family, from friends, my pastors at church, friends at church. It's been amazing, and the love was overwhelming. Honestly, I've never felt that way before. So I've learned a lot about community support. It was great for me, and I just it just made me put me in a position where I can't wait to also offer that kind of support to anybody who would need my help in that regard.
Okay.
Again, I've valued family. I think I've valued family more. I've spent a lot of time at home with my little girl.
Hmm.
Usually it's rush, rush, rush in the morning, go to work, 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 work. I'm picking her up from school. We come home, there's homework, you do your homework. I have chores to do in the house. I want to do it. In the end, we all go to sleep. We wake up and the cycle continues. But I've been at home with her. I've loved her. I have, just being with her, teaching her, playing with her. The sort of games that I play with her, sometimes I'm amazed at myself, you know, teaching her stuff. So it's caused me to value family more. I mean, my husband is also not here with us, but then I mean, we've I think it's made us bond even more and more. I mean, we talk endless on the phone. He works, yes, but when we do get the chance to talk, we do talk a lot about things.
Okay.
And I remember one of the things that came up was, um, you know, he was very happy that it was a mild disease. I had gotten better. But one of the things that he said to me was, "Do you know? Do you know what would have happened if, unfortunately, I mean, God forbid, if you hadn't made it? What would have happened to me and to our little girl? How was I going to take care of her? I just thank God for you. I thank God for your life. So I think this whole experience has brought the family together,
Okay.
and yeah,
Oh,
for
we
me.
thank God. Now, uh, 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 just to confirm, you're still distancing yourself, is that it? Or you're back to normal duties?
So I haven't started work yet. I'll be going back to work very soon. For now, I'm still at home. Really, I the saying goes that once bitten, twice shy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I got the infection, so it
Mm-hmm.
just means that I really have to take very good care of myself.
Okay.
So I'm at home now. Yes.
Ghana has recorded over 5,000 cases now. What do you
Yes.
think about it, and what do you think about how we are handling this pandemic, Dr. Wood?
My honest opinion, I think that the government did very well right from the beginning, closing the borders, doing the quarantine for the those who came in the latter stages.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was an amazing thing. That was a very good thing that the government and then the Ministry of Health did together. But I get very worried, you know, watching TV, seeing what goes on TV. On Saturday, I needed to go to the bank because I didn't have any money on me. I had been home and I really didn't have any money on me. So I decided to drive to the bank, to the high street. And I actually didn't get to the bank because there were so many people on the high street. They were not in mask. I saw a lot of people without their masks. They were all sitting together, and I was like, wow, is this what is happening? I'm worried, actually. Let me tell you, like, I'm really worried about what I see around. And I think that we have made a lot of gains, but I worry that things can get worse. Because as I said, I was asymptomatic or relatively well, should I say. I had a mild disease. But this disease, COVID 19, um, for COVID 19, about 80% of people walk around either with mild disease or not having any symptoms at all. And for me, that's scary. So if we do not take the appropriate steps, I worry that a lot of people may become infected. We may not even know who is standing next to you, who you're dealing with,
Mm-hmm.
and this infection will just spread. That's my worry.
Would you suggest a total lockdown?
Looking at our economy, I mean, we are not like Italy and the States and the UKs and the US. I think they can give out the support in terms of packages that they can give to their citizens if they decide to lock down totally. I don't think we are there yet. I think that we need a form of lockdown. That's what I think. And enforcement of the social distancing, wearing of the mask, ensuring that we are washing our hands and
Mm.
using our sanitizers and all that. I don't think we can afford a total lockdown, no, because
Okay.
families need to feed and to take care of themselves.
Dr. Wood, we're so grateful to you today. Your story is inspiring. We're grateful for your good heart for coming out to share this with us. In fact, it's good caution to us to take it very seriously. And so, thank you so much. We are grateful to God. We thank God that you are well and the family is well as well. We'll forever be grateful to God for that. But even more so, we are thanking you for making time to tell us about your COVID story here on Joy FM. God bless you.
Amen.
Yami
Thank you
Shroud.
very much for having me as well.
My regards to your nanny and the little toddler too. Yeah.
Yeah, here. We say hello.
Oh, I want to see them on the Zoom. Can I have a look at them and wave? Hello, guys. Yeah. Hi. How are you? Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, she's cute. Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Wood, and have a good evening.
You're welcome. Thank you too for having me.
Dr. Joan Woode, an amazing pediatrician who contracted the coronavirus. She's covered and she shares the story here on Joy FM. Well, please wear your masks, use your sanitizers. Social distancing is important. Please stay safe. My name is Lexus Bill. Have a great evening. God willing, tomorrow at 2 p.m. I'll be here with my team with another edition of Drive Time on Joy. Kojo?
Hi, Kwame.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. Yourself?
I'm